Senator Wicker.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the service of all three of you. I know you've had to deal with a budget number that you did not arrive at yourselves, and I appreciate you doing a difficult task. We hope we can use our power of the purse here in this committee and in the Congress to help you out on that. I think Ranking Member Reed expressed, with regard to the 30-year shipbuilding plan, the sentiment of most people on this committee that the Secretary should take enough time but not too much time. So I want to subscribe my views to what he said about that. And Admiral Gilday, with regard to the submarines, let me make sure. You said that the threat will not diminish. Actually, the threat is increasing, and and you nodded, but that is correct, right?
Yes, sir. I agree.
And that is not only with regard to the specific question, Admiral, that Senator Reed asked about submarines, but it's actually across the entire fleet. Is that correct?
I would agree with that as well, sir.
All right. Thank you very, very much. And appreciate the fact that the NDAA tasked the Navy last year to review alternative acquisition strategies. The Navy came back with a report that said significant savings could be achieved by procuring various combinations of amphibious ships. So let me ask you, Secretary Modly, and General Berger, about these findings, particularly as they're related to the 3 LPDs and the LHA-9. Can you speak to the timeline for awarding the funding of these ships, and what are the benefits of procuring these 4 ships together? And let me just get all my questions out there, and we'll see what we can do in less than 3 minutes. What are the specific capabilities, and what is the specific importance, General Berger, of the amphibious ships that I mentioned?
Sir, the amphibious ships, capabilities-wise, in the past, pretty conventional view of what they did in terms of the Navy, the force, project, and the Marines ashore. In the way that we're going to need to operate in the future, even more challenging, and the role of the amphibious ship, I think, goes up. Why? Because in order to operate a force inside a contested area at the unclassed level, inside there, you've got to have the mobility, and you need the ability to sustain that force for a long period of time in austere conditions and move that force around. Amphibious ships are, people have spoke of them as sort of the Swiss Army knife. They are, because you can move a force from the air, on the water. You got multiple means to do the job. So I think their value to the naval force, their value to the joint force goes up in the future.
And with respect to sort of the business considerations, Senator, we're looking at all types of options to be able to bundle our buys of ships in order to drive down the cost, provide more stability to the industrial base and that supplier base, which extends far beyond just the shipyards that are doing the primary construction. So I talked to Secretary Gertz about this morning, about how we might be doing this, particularly in the amphib area, and we're going to be thinking about that and developing some plans to do that.
Okay, and then specifically, the U.S. currently has 4 DDGs based in Rota, Spain. These platforms provide an advanced multi-mission defense capability. I think we're getting the right testimony with regard to the need there. Do we need the 2 additional DDGs in Rota, Spain, and tell us about the plans to accomplish that?
Senator, we support the 2 additional DDGs to Spain. Right now, we're working with U.S. European Command. They are putting together their strategic laydown of the theater. So when that is complete, you'll be briefed up here in the Congress. And then in parallel, we'll be moving through the Office of the Secretary of the Navy and then the Office of the Secretary of Defense coordinating with the Department of State and then finally the government of Spain so they can line everything up to get additional DDGs over at some point to Rota. But we're very supportive right now. Our assessment is that the Spanish want us there in greater numbers, and certainly the commander of U.S. European Command does.
And just briefly, General Walters has testified that we actually have the infrastructure there at Rota that is able at this point to house the 2 additional destroyers. Is that correct, Admiral?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much.
Senator Blumenthal.